The Acura TSX was an all-new model that was introduced in 2003 at the North American Auto Show. Derived from the Honda Accord, the Acura TSX was labeled as a compact executive car by Honda, wielding either a 5-speed auto or a 6-speed manual with the K24A2 motor, which gives it 197 to 205 horsepower. Now, although the TSX is made by Honda, it still has issues. Welcome back to another episode on Watch This First. Today I'll be going over the common issues and breaking down the reliability of the first-gen Acura TSX from 2004 to 2008 to help you with the future purchase or diagnose an issue you may be having. I am not saying do not buy this car because all cars have issues. I just want to help educate you. Now let's get started. When the engine compartment gets hot for a long time, it is common for the power steering hose to crack and deteriorate over the endless high heat cycles it endures. The O-ring itself on the low pressure hose fitting can also cause air to get into the power steering system, causing the car to groan as it turns and ultimately leaking fluid. The OEM black O-ring is low quality and there is an updated red replacement O-ring which is easy to replace with a 10mm wrench and a quick bleeding procedure. If you run the car for a long time with air in the system, then you could ruin the power steering pump. So if you're having these issues, try to fix them quickly. All the parts I could find will be linked down below for your convenience. Finally, there's one more power steering issue with this generation of Acura TSX, and that's the rack and pinion boot cracking and the seals leaking fluid. Acura wrote up a TSB 10025 on this issue and how to fix it. However, there are other ways to place the rack without having to lower the subframe. I have a video linked down below on the process. It does look a bit difficult, but definitely possible, so good luck. It is known for the early Acura TSXs to have a slipping transmission that can ultimately fail if you don't attend to the problem appropriately and you let the problem persist for a long period of time. Basically, doing the routine transmission fluid and filter changes will alleviate the problems. If you are somewhat of a spirited driver, I would replace the fluid every 30,000 miles to prevent the transmission from slipping. Now, if the problem is pretty bad, I would replace the fluid 3 times with short driving intervals between the fluid changes. If nothing works, you may have to replace the transmission, which is actually not a common issue TSX owners report, so the fluid change should fix the issue. The driver's seat in these cars are known to slide backward and forward as you step on the brakes and accelerate. You could replace the seat rails with updated seat rails, or you can do a DIY fix. The ride up to the DIY fix will be in the description down below. In the manual cars, the clutch pedal likes to click, or what some owners reported as a groan, as you press down the pedal. This seems like more of an annoying issue and it doesn't really damage anything. However, the fix seems to be spraying some sort of silicone lubricant or applying some lithium grease where the pedal rod goes into the firewall. The windows on these cars do have issues. And the first window issue is that the window can roll down and up. However, the auto up or down does not work. Usually the fix to this is a simple reset. Turn the car on, roll the window all the way down, then roll the window all the way up, and keep holding the button in the same position for 2 to 3 seconds after the window has been rolled up all the way. That should resolve that issue. Now, the window motor and regulator can also fail, which is common with older vehicles and the TSX particularly. The part is relatively cheap and you should be able to get the job done with a YouTube video. Failing AC compressor clutch, which when it is rotating appropriately, it makes the air turn cold, essentially. When the clutch is not rotating when it should, you won't have cold air. The complete AC compressor failure typically happens more often in the 04 to 05 models, so you may need to replace the compressor. But before jumping to that conclusion, you should first check the fuses and the relays to make sure it is actually receiving power when it should. Pull up a fuse and relay diagram, then a video on how to check them, and work your way through them all. If they are all in working order, it's time to replace the compressor, which is not a fun job. In the early 04 models, the engines can burn oil due to their piston rings. Basically, fluid can get past the rings and, well, it will burn up. The solution? An engine rebuild, or keep topping off that oil. I will just look at any model over 2004 so you won't have to worry about that issue. Other mentionable issues is that the dash lights tend to fail over time, warped brake rotors due to aggressive driving, and the door lock actuators like to fail. Now, here are my final thoughts. This is the first generation of the TSX. As you can see, there are some flaws. Notable flaws is the faulty AC compressor, burning oil, and other minor issues that should have been fixed by 2006. If this helped you out, then I'll see you in the next video. This is Chris AutoMotivate. Always appreciate and respect one another. I'll see you next time.